Ty Simpson is going to be Alabama's starter for 2025. So now what?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. I'll tell you about Gametime in a little bit. I want to thank you everydayers for being here every day. Thank you newbies for being here today. And thanks everybody for making us your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. And if you were an everydayer, you knew this was coming. It wasn't like it's a huge secret, but it is good to get it out in the open. I think it is important that Ty Simpson has been named the starter, or at least allegedly. The Tuscaloosa News is reporting it, and that's true. What everybody is following it up. But yeah, it's true. It's true.
They told. It's Monday. Obviously, it's Monday. This is a live show, and y'all know live. It's Monday. They didn't practice today. They don't practice on Mondays, not during the season, not even during camp. So they don't practice on Mondays, but they do have meetings. And at a team meeting, Kalen DeBoer told the team that Ty would be the starter for Florida State. And again, the team was probably less surprised than everyone listening to the show right now. I mean, this has been coming. We've talked about on Sunday's show and today's show, Luke, we talked about how Ty has been sort of the front runner from practice number one going all the way back to the spring. And there has never been any point when it didn't look like this was going to happen. It's never been a, hey, you know what, Austin Mack's making a move, or hey, you know what, Keelan Russell, he's got the playbook down now, he's making a move. It's never been like that. That sounds like I'm being negative on Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. That's not the case at all. Ty was named the starter because he won the job. There was a competition, and Ty won it, and he won it sort of handily. And maybe that's what we should expect. But I do have a point to make about something Josh Pate said. I agree with Josh 99% of the time, but I take umbrage with what Josh said on the show recently.
You take umbrage with it.
I'm taking an umbrage here. I'm taking an umbrage. Now he said, what if this situation? Because even Josh knows Alabama's program extremely well. He also knew that Ty was going to be the starting quarterback, but he also he brought up the 2016 case. Where he basically was saying Blake Barnett is Ty Simpson and Jalen Hurts is Keelan Russell. And he talked about how 2016 could be, hey, are we going to have that situation where Ty's got a deer in the headlights thing and you got to go to the younger guy, and the younger guy ends up bailing out the game and bailing out the season and plays for the national championship. One thing I bring up, while it is true that Blake Barnett was a highly hyped 5-star, two huge differences. Ty's a redshirt junior, not a redshirt freshman, that's been in the program and been around, and there's a much larger sample size of watching Ty Simpson. But number two, and even more importantly, I went to the scrimmage about 2 weeks before Blake Barnett started that USC game. It was highly debatable as to who the starting quarterback should be. If you're at that scrimmage, you're like, I don't know who the starter should be. It does seem like the team responds best to Jalen Hurts, who was sort of third that day. Cooper Bateman was in that mix too at the time. And it was kind of apparent that maybe Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback because the team responded better, even moved the backups against the starters. And that was a really good starting defense. That has not been the case in this. Ty Simpson has handily won the job. And I don't think anyone in the program feels like Keelan Russell has pushed him to the point of, we're not sure how this is going to go. So I just see it as wholly different than 2016, though he makes a good point that, hey, you don't know until you know, and let's see how Ty responds when some adversity hits, because Blake Barnett in 2016 didn't respond well, and they had to go to somebody else.
Okay, yeah, and here's the other thing. That team went on to play for the national championship. And if not for a non-called offensive pass interference, they win the national championship.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't understand the argument. I'm like you. We love Josh Pate here on the show. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show. We'll have him on the show again. But I just don't get that analogy. I don't get that line of thinking, because here's the thing. If your point is, well, somebody may take over for him and go undefeated and be incredible. Okay. I'm fine with that too.
And I'm not saying, for those who didn't hear, I'm not saying Josh Pate said, hey, this is going to happen, that Ty won't be able to handle it and they're going to, he wasn't saying that at all. He was just saying it reminds him of 2016 when there was a 5-star quarterback that sort of became the quarterback, but you had this star freshman and not everybody was talking about Jalen Hurts sort of thing. But I just don't like that analogy. To me, the best analogy in terms of what's going on, in terms of what situation has Alabama had recently, to me, the best analogy is 2020 with Mac Jones, who took over in his year 4, and he had a true freshman guy behind him and Bryce Young that no doubt was going to be a dude down the road. He just wasn't quite as ready as Mac Jones was in 2020. And then lo and behold, Mac Jones had a first-round type season. And
had a Heisman finalist season.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Ty's going to do that. I'm just saying that this reminds me more of 2020 than 2016.
And I'll take it a step further. In 2020, if you think about that, when Bryce did push Mac more than I think Ty's been pushed this season.
Yes.
I think the gap is wider.
Some people thought Bryce would be the quarterback. As a matter of fact, all through the summer, it was a common prediction that Bryce would be the quarterback. And I do think he somewhat made it closer than people realize. But Mac had command of the offense, which is a great description of what Ty has done here. Kalen DeBoer brings it up often about how Ty has very good command of what's going on the field. That makes sense. Coach's son, 4th-year junior.
Son? Is that what that is? My eyes are failing me.
The son of the sun, apparently.
Look, late at night, I know 7:47 for some of y'all isn't late. For Daddy, it is. He said, son says, would you sacrifice Ty for a natty? If I told you Bama wins a natty in 2025, but Ty doesn't start, would you take it? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I would take that, but I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Why are we having to throw Ty in a volcano? Is this
But I would throw Ty in a volcano.
I would throw Ty in a volcano to win the national championship in 2025.
I'd throw Jimmy in one.
Yeah, and I would jump into one if it meant 2025. That's what I'm doing for all.
That's the one thing I wouldn't do.
As a service to all of y'all. But no, I don't understand the point. But I guess what he's saying is me and you aren't going to be happy if Ty's about the court. That's not the case. I want the guy that gives Alabama the best chance to win. That's who needs to be the quarterback. And it's apparent that right now that person's Ty Simpson. That could change.
And look, and son comes back and say, I like Ty. I hope he balls out. We do too. We've been accused of loving Ty too much. But the whole point of this whole thing is to win a natty. So they're just about outside of Ryan Williams. I'm not sure there's somebody I wouldn't throw in a volcano. So it's not, and even with Ryan, I might do it like very tearfully. I'd be like Thanos dropping Gamora to get the Soul Stone.
And good luck
I'll be crying.
Good luck throwing Proctor in that volcano.
Bibby,
see, we have an FSU fan here.
All things were possible under Saban. 24-13 FSU wins. Look, boy, these FSU fans, I say they're coming out of the woodwork, but we've had a couple in the comments recently, and they've been like, you don't know what you're walking into. You're walking into Doak Campbell Stadium. And look, no offense, but everybody except California and Charleston Southern beat y'all there last year.
And I've said repeatedly that I think FSU in their home game, and this is a brand new renovate. They got a renovation there. I've said repeatedly, this is an SEC road game. To me, this is an SEC road game. You're playing SEC level athletes recruited by SEC schools in a 100,000, 90,000, 100,000 hot. The Seminole, throwing the spear at the 50. This is an SEC atmosphere. And as far as I'm concerned, it's an SEC football team. I know they were 2-10 last year. I don't think we're going to see a 2-10 football team. I also don't think, as Lucas pointed out before, I remember Luke saying this the other day, so it's also not the 13-0 Florida State team from 2 years ago. I think it's somewhere in the middle there.
By the way, their capacity is under 80,000.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising to me, considering. But again, it is an SEC atmosphere. Not every SEC team has the 90,000, 100,000 seats.
Agreed.
That's kind of a Alabama, Tennessee, LSU kind of thing. But it'll be an SEC atmosphere. And I said it on the show, Luke. To me, in terms of when we're going to know about Ty, is when adversity hits. I'm expecting it to hit in that game. There will be at some point early in that game where something will go wrong, whether it's an interception or a 3-and-out or Florida State takes a lead. Something's going to go wrong. How does Ty respond to that adversity? And that's when we'll know whether we got something or not.
Didn't Jalen Hurts, I think he fumbled.
He did.
Early in that game. And we were like, God almighty, we don't have any quarterbacks, you know? And then Jalen got another shot, and the next thing you know, he's throwing bombs to Ardarius Stewart. Was it Christian Jones? It
was Ardarius Stewart. It was the first touchdown that he threw. But Jalen
was long gone.
But Blake Barnett played bad. We replaced him with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts comes in and fumbles the first snap, or recovered by USC. Right. Then we go on to win the game, something like 52-6.
I think it was 52-6.
So boy, considering we sputtered at the start,
it was Marlon Humphrey had a pick 6 in that game. Reuben Foster, I think, destroyed most of Los Angeles. I mean, it was awesome.
And for those and this is about naming a starting quarterback. By the way, for those that don't remember, Alabama fans were not sure who the starting quarterback was going to be that morning. There had been no announcement. And I got a text from someone in the media, a name y'all would all recognize. I got a text an hour before the game that I know the starter is going to be. Do you know? And I said, I'm pretty sure it's Blake Barnett, and it is Barnett. I found out in Jerry Dome, an hour before the game started.
Is it Jerry Dome? That sounds like you're in his head. I think it's Jerry's World.
Jerry World. Jerry Dome, Jerry World, Jerry's Chuck E. Cheese. The place is awesome, by the way. It's my favorite place to watch a football game I've ever been to.
It is awesome. It's better than a lot of places that have been built long after it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Jimmy and I are going to tell everybody why doing it now was a smart idea here in just a second. But I can't wait to tell you all about Game Time. Back by moderate demand.
It's back.
Game Time.
Game Time moderate back.
Demand. Very little demand, but just enough to get me fired back up and on the horse. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with stress and ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. Look, you ever wonder what your view will actually look like before you buy a ticket? This app shows you a panoramic seat view, so there are no surprises. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege. It's all one word for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. All one word for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, and that's a Jimmy Stein guarantee.
I'm glad Game Time back. I know. Don't go changing on me. Don't go changing. I watched the Billy Joel thing the other day. Don't go changing.
It was my new Coke moment. I threw out there and they were like, no, stick with the old formula. I'm like, you got it. And it's more popular than ever. All right.
That new Coke was terrible. What year did that happen? Was that in the 80s?
Oh, it was like 83, 84. I remember where I was when I was first able to get my hands on some, because I had to ride my moped from Willow Point to our town where they had a little convenience store, which isn't there anymore. And I would ride my moped over there, get gas. And the irony is, by the time I got gas, I needed gas again when I got home. But I got a new Coke, and I was like, this tastes like, I remember it being like 83, terrible. And I was like, this tastes like crap.
Yeah, and remind people, and since you've just admitted to owning a moped, I believe doing the math, you were like 10.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You were 10. You were like
I
10.
wasn't in Europe.
You were like 10. Don't act it like you're 21 years old and my way of getting around town was a moped.
All right. So let me tell you, when we got a text, I was sitting down at dinner, you were sitting down at dinner, and we got a text from several people saying, hey, it's official or gonna be official or whatever. And Zach Blackerby, who's our boss, said, you know what, you guys should go live. And so we are, and it's great. But he said it's a big deal. And I thought, my first thought was to myself, why now? And you know what? I think right now is the best time. At first, I was like, I thought we were going to do this like next week.
As a matter of fact, I happen to know from Charlie Potter, I'll give a shout out to Charlie Potter, BOL. I think there was some initial talk that the plan would be next week, and they changed their minds. And I think Ty's performance on Saturday was just made it like they had guests at the stadium. I mean, A-Club people were there. There were people there, and I think it just became so obvious that they weren't going to wait another week. And I see Levi Raker here says, I think it was smart by DeBoer. Now the team can focus on the game plan for Florida State for full 2 weeks and get the offense chemistry together. That's a good point, Levi. And I'm thinking similarly to you. I don't think they're going to start literally a specific FSU game plan until well into next week, because I think this week is going to be all about continued installation, continued depth chart jumping, and there's a second scrimmage, the scrimmage on Saturday. But like you, Levi, this is what I think pushed them. First of all, it's totally obvious who the starting quarterback was going to be. Like I said, the team was less surprised than all of y'all that listen to the show every day. The reason that you do it now is reps. Now you can sell Austin Mack and Keelan Russell on why Ty's getting even more reps with the one. Yeah. Now Ty's going to get almost all the reps with the ones. And now you kind of set your pecking order in terms of the reps at practice. Because if you didn't name Ty the star, see, up until this point, believe it or not, they kind of split the reps. I know Ty hadn't been getting any snaps with the threes, just the ones and the twos, because they didn't want to waste any time. But I think this is about practice reps, and then middle of next week is when they'll start on FSU. And at that point, it's just vital that the starter's getting all the reps with the ones.
Keep Kalen in Tuscaloosa said, wow, Luke just admitted Auburn is his boss. No, I admitted that host of Locked on Auburn, Zach Blackerby, is my boss.
We admit to that.
I also admit this wholeheartedly, that you know who buys more stuff from Robinson Iron than any other university, and we've had alums from Georgia Tech, and we still do, Georgia Tech, Alabama, and Auburn, and that's Mississippi State. So when it comes to business time, I'm like, go Bulldogs. So because they buy a lot of stuff from us, and I appreciate it. Alabama has bought some, and Auburn's bought. We did for those who don't know, my company did the tiger outside of Auburn Stadium. It's a life-size tiger. It's bronze. It's cool, but yeah, I mean, some people will be like, well, why didn't you, write Roll Tide on the side of it? Well, because they paid us a bunch of money not to do that. So how about that? Anyway, I think now is I think now is a great time to announce it. I think it was so commonly known. I mean, this was a common law marriage at this point. I mean, it's so commonly known. Just let him have it. Let him wear the crown a little bit. Let him assume the leadership role he's going to have to assume, and let him get an extra week of doing that.
Well, now it's a transition from competing for the job. Now it's yours. There's going to be a change in the mindset. And by the way, it's not like you now chiseled it in rock and mailed the rock to Tallahassee. Something could change.
Yeah.
But I think today's announcement was just an announcement that we had a competition to see who the starting quarterback will be. And Ty Simpson has so resoundingly won that competition. It's silly to wait any longer. That's what today was about. And again, like to Levi, our good listener, his point, I think a lot of it has to do with reps. And Ty now needs to be getting virtually all of the reps with the ones here through Florida State.
Son says Simpson about to make defenses say, "Go!" Oh, God, that's as good as, that's the only time I'm giving you credit for that. That's as good as stolen. Write it down.
It's not like the Simpsons don't come up on the show.
I know. I would have come up with something. I have been trying really hard. Oh, wait a minute. I still got this thing up here. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. That our good buddy did of me and you. I mean, that's perfect. But he also did some other ones. He had like a Star Wars one where I was Chewbacca, or I was Luke Skywalker, and maybe you were Chewbacca. I don't remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
He did Fantastic Four, and you were the thing. You were the thing, and I was, which is the coolest of the four characters, to be honest. Though I liked being Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
even if it was just for a few minutes.
Well, look, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm excited by this. It's good to just have it.
Yeah.
It is sort of like a weight off the whole team's shoulders, too, I think. And you know what? Somebody mentioned in the comments a little bit back. I'm not going to scroll through to find it. But they said, well, Austin Max is probably as good as in the portal now. Okay. I mean, this is welcome to Earth. I mean, this is what's going to happen from now on.
First of all, you cannot enter the portal until December. First of all, you can't enter the portal until December.
Well, you can announce you're going to enter it. You can announce not participate with the team, because that's what some guys have done. Right?
Yeah, but I will be absolutely floored, stunned if he does it. For one thing, Austin Mack is, as we speak, the number 2 quarterback. He's one turned ankle away from being the starting quarterback at Alabama. So I don't think he's going anywhere, because his number 2 is vital before a season even starts. Secondly, it's not a situation where, now imagine this, in a different world where Keelan Russell was just named the starting quarterback, then Ty would leave because a younger player is now ahead of him. In this particular instance, the oldest player has the job. Therefore, there's no reason for Austin Mack and Keelan Russell being in a hurry to get out of there, because Ty's going to leave either after this season or after a fifth-year senior season, which is possible, but no reason for us to even talk about it now. But the oldest kid won the job. In that situation, there's fewer instances of players entering the portal. If the youngest kid had won the job, there could have been some portal problems there, because obviously if a younger guy is beating you out, then your odds of ever winning the job aren't very good anymore. But Ty's the oldest kid. And man, shout out to Ty for sticking it out in the modern age when way over 50% of Power 4 quarterbacks transfer out at some point in their careers. He stuck behind it. He was even behind Jalen Milroe. There had to have been games. I know some of y'all listening were frustrated they didn't make a QB change last year. Imagine that Ty was probably a little frustrated that they wouldn't go to him. Ty competed with Jalen Milroe at the start of the 2023 season to be the starting quarterback. And frankly, Jalen Milroe didn't win that job by miles and miles. We know that because they benched him after the second start. So it wasn't like Milroe won that by miles and miles over Buckner and Simpson at the time. Ty eventually beat out Tyler Buckner, who had more experience than him as a starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Ty Simpson beat Buckner out after that South Florida debacle and has been the number 2 quarterback ever since, and he stuck with it. And I think we should, as fans, be just thrilled for Ty and thankful that Ty stuck around, because so many other kids would have left.
I can just imagine the roar of the crowd. If Bama beats Florida State, which I think they will, Ty has a pretty good game. Man, when they announce him as starter on the PA against La Monroe, that place is going to go nuts.
I think so, especially if Ty does well in Tallahassee, and we should. And Bryant Denny give Ty a heck of an ovation for sticking around, regardless of what happens. He stuck it out and stuck around. And boy, son has a lot to say today.
Active. I dig it. He says Ty is a mix of Mac, Jake, and AJ. And I was going to say that because I've seen people say, "Well, he's like Mac. Well, he's like AJ. Well, I really believe he's got sort of he can throw like Mac. I think he's more mobile like Coker was. Now I'll say this: I don't think he's going to lower the boom on people like Coker would. Coker's. Let me tell you, you can pick out. There are very few people that I'd rather fight less than Jake Coker. I feel like Jake Coker's the kind of guy they would just assume kick your butt and just to avoid having to do it later.
Not many great out of the way. Not many great quarterback bar fight guys, but Coke might be the quarterback bar fight guy. Yes, Simpson's a sturdy dude, but he's much faster than Jake Coker. I mean, he's absolutely. And hey, I appreciate you subscribing, Mike G. thanks for that. And I hope y'all listen to us every day. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another show, and we'll continue to talk about this. And now we can talk about it as in a fact, although Luke and I have been saying for a long time that this is going to happen. But now that it's official, we just move forward with, okay, Ty's the starter. And now there's still, in my mind, a competition for QB2. Right now, it's Austin Mack. Let's see if that changes throughout the course of the season. As we know, Alabama's likely to win a few games, and we're going to see the number 2 quarterback. I'm excited to see how Austin Mack does in that role.
Hey, I'd love for Ty to get such a big lead. Austin Mack and Keelan get to play against Florida State. But, let's see how it goes. All right. That's going to do it for this emergency podcast. Appreciate you guys so much for subscribing and joining us and giving us comments and all those things. You guys are the best. We will be back tomorrow. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.